Welcome to New Hampshire's Business. I'm Fred Coker. New Hampshire's population is growing, becoming more diverse, older, the second oldest state in the country, and there are now more residents who were born elsewhere than were born in New Hampshire, and we'll get to that in a moment. But first, here's how New Hampshire compares to other New England states with overall population gains and losses. Notice the gains in Maine and New Hampshire and the loss in Massachusetts as of July 2022. With me to tell us about that and more is Director of Research for New Hampshire Fiscal Policy Institute, Phil Sletton. Welcome. Nice to have you in the studio.
Thank you very much, Fred. It's great to be here.
Before we continue, what's your take on that graph we just put up on the screen? It looks like a population rush New Hampshire and Maine.
Yeah, since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic, we've seen that rural areas have become much more popular in terms of attractive destinations for people to move to, and we've seen that nationwide. Northern New England is a relatively rural area, particularly that growth that we've seen in New Hampshire and Maine is a byproduct of that phenomena. That's a nationwide phenomena. And I should note, too, that the population growth we see in New Hampshire in particular is only because of migration. There's not population growth because of more births than deaths. Indeed, we have the opposite in the state.
And we're going to break that down in a minute. But you do regular reports on challenges facing the state, be they fiscal, economic, or demographic. So how about this one? Graph, a place of birth for residents of the United States. We can put that up. New England and New Hampshire, 2017 to 2021. And look at the right side of the color bars for New Hampshire, where the orange bar showing New Hampshire residents born in other states, and the blue bar showing New Hampshire residents born in New Hampshire. Phil, most of us aren't probably aware of this.
Yeah, and New Hampshire's not unique among states in that we have more of our residents born outside of the state than within the state. It's not something that is particularly uncommon for states that are maybe small and next to other large population states. That being said, it's true in New Hampshire relative to even New England, never mind the rest of the country.
Right.
And that is a byproduct of the growth of the Boston metropolitan area really affecting New Hampshire's population over decades. We have a model of population and economic growth that relies on in-migration, and over the last 60 years, we've seen a lot of people move from particularly Massachusetts into New Hampshire, but other places as well.
Now, to that migration, here's another graph. Migrants to New Hampshire, 2021 to 2022. Here's where residents from other parts of the country and abroad are coming from. And notice the big blue slice of this pie, which is Massachusetts. Are they still moving to New Hampshire?
Yes, so there's a lot of interaction across state lines generally, but for every 2 people that move from Massachusetts to New Hampshire, 1 person moved from New Hampshire to Massachusetts, so it's not a one-way street. That being said, that's a lot of net migration coming from Massachusetts and going to New Hampshire. And during that time period, again, we see a lot of people moving to rural areas from more urban areas, Massachusetts being the home to our largest local urban area.
It's worth noting that the largest ethnic population growth in New Hampshire, as you know, has been Hispanic or Latino. 62% increase as of 2020, more than 4% of the population, and it's probably more now. Phil, the distribution of population across New Hampshire is best shown in this map of the counties of New Hampshire. An increase and decrease from 2010 to 2020. The plus signs on the counties that you can see on that map, the plus signs show increase, and then especially Rockingham and Stratford County, but a significant decrease in Coos County. Talk about that.
Yeah, one of the things that we've seen, and this map is showing from 2010 to 2020, what the changes were during that decade. We see that population growth that is really in the southeastern part of the state. Again, the Boston metropolitan area growing and leading to more migrants over the border. That has been historically where New Hampshire's population has grown quite a bit over the recent decades. That being said, since 2020, if you were to look at those data from 2020 to the estimates that we have for 2022, we see that statewide there's been more population growth, including in the northern and western parts of the state that saw population declines over the last decade.
Yeah.
So that's a phenomenon associated with the pandemic. There were 2 things that were spurred: retirements that happened earlier and more remote work. That again brings more people over the border, particularly from Massachusetts, because New Hampshire is a relatively attractive place to live that's still proximate to either work or previous life in Massachusetts. But whether that continues or not into the future is an open question.
And just a final comment, if we had more housing in New Hampshire, especially affordable housing, we probably would have had more growth. You'd probably agree with that, right?
Yes, absolutely.
My thanks to Phil Sletton, Research Director at the New Hampshire Fiscal Policy Institute, based in Concord. Nice to have you.
Thank you very much, Fred.
And if you missed part of this briefing on population, you go to WMUR.com, where it will be posted all this week.